Here's Mike Pereira, a segue I've never made before in my career. So good to see you, Mike Pereira of Fox Sports.
That was a great interview.
I appreciate that.
That was fantastic. Well, not you, her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She was great.
I had nothing to do with it.
She was just great.
I'm just glad she didn't go full Marshawn Lynch and say the word "yeah" 14 times, you know.
The callback to spelling it out was pretty,
Yeah, well, I hope they got
fantastic.
that 8-second delay on Fox Sports Radio and the rest of the Rich Eisen Show Radio Network. Mike, let's talk about a couple of plays from Sunday Night Football. Andre Williams fumbled the ball. Clearly, the ball's loose. The Cowboys recover it. So they come out of the pile with it. The only thing is you could not see whether he had a body part down on the ground before fumbling it. This was right at the outset of the second half. The Giants get the ball back after the challenge by Jason Garrett is denied. They went with the ruling on the field. They said, as the call stands. You tweeted out that you would have reversed this. Is that what you would have done? Would you have reversed this if you were in your former position as the VP of NFL refs?
I would have.
Why?
I mean, because to me it was clear that the ball was out. I understand, because you don't see where the left arm is, or maybe you don't see a little bit where the left leg is.
You have to.
Yeah, but the ball to me is out, and I think what you would get from the league office, they would say to you, "Look, I think it's a fumble, but I just couldn't prove it. Prove it 100%."
But that's what replay is.
I know, but if you don't overturn this one, then I don't think you're going to overturn anything when it comes to this is a guy on the ground or not, because, to me, look at this. This ball's out. His BUTT is way off the ground, and you've got to.
But you don't know if his, you don't know if his shin is on the ground underneath that pig pile of guys bringing him down.
Let me say this.
Yes.
I would say that if we had the same replay system this year that we had last year, 15 of the 17 referees would have reversed this and made it a fumble and given the ball to Dallas. That being said,
yes,
Dean Blandino and the people in New York that are reviewing these plays are being pretty darn consistent, because they're really not turning over anything unless it's absolutely 100% conclusive.
But that is the rule of the law. That's what it is. It's the rule.
It's the rule of the law. But at some point, you've got, to me, the law is actually shows there. I mean, I think the ball's out, but that's my opinion.
Mike Pereira, the former head of NFL refs for the National Football League of Fox Sports. What about the fourth down play where it was ruled on the field of play with the Giants trying to go down the field for either a game-time field goal, overtime forcing field goal, or a game-winning touchdown? It was reviewed. They buzzed because it was in the last 2 minutes. And I know the idea is to usually keep these things moving because of the final 30 seconds of a game. But do you think this is an appropriate overturn?
Yeah, again, there's no shot down the line, but that's the one right there, because he doesn't get progress where he first catches the ball. He gets progress where he's first contacted, which is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows that the ball is short, and that's where replay obviously plays a huge role in the game, but there's no question that that's definitive. And then the other thing I would say here is, because your point's absolutely correct, you hate for replay to get involved in the last minute of the game like this, because you're really breaking a momentum. But the league, and Dean specifically in New York, Dean Blandino, the current VP of officiating, they've jumped in here and made quick decisions quickly to get the game shut down so that you don't somehow get the ball snapped and miss the opportunity to correct an error in the field, which really could have meant the difference, of course, of winning or losing.
Now, I want to get to the play that a lot of people were talking about over the entire weekend. That's Jameis Winston of Florida State contacting an official, and there was no penalty, and there was no ejection. I believe your colleague at ESPN, who does does your job for their college football,
right,
says should have happened, should have been a penalty, should have been an ejection. I say that the official was out of bounds himself, that he should be standing over the football to make sure it's not ready for play. And Jameis Winston had every right to be under center and should have no reason to expect an official to prevent him from doing that. What do you say, Mike?
I say you are wrong. And I'll say, first of all, the first part that you're wrong about is the official was standing right where he was supposed to be standing. Remember now, college football has gone to 8-man crews. And this new center judge that is on the offensive side of the ball, he is the one now that stands behind the center to make sure the ball doesn't get snapped if the offense is substituted, which Florida State did. 4 came in for number 9. So he's exactly where he was supposed to be. In the olden days, with just 7 guys, 7 officials, then you're right. Then the umpire, when just on the defensive side, that would have been his responsibility. And then, you know, he wouldn't have been in the way there, yet he would have still held the snap. I don't care where the official's in the right spot. The fact is, you cannot push an official. Aggressively push an official out of the way, period. And it's not like it was coming out of a skirmish where somebody was trying to keep him and he pushes a guy, but he doesn't know who it is. He looked right at him before he stuck the forearm in, and he didn't get flagged. He should have gotten flagged, I'm telling you. I would have ejected him. Kataya from ESPN said that, who's a former college coordinator, said he should have been ejected. But the ACC has now given millions of reasons why he shouldn't have been ejected and shouldn't have been called.
Well, Mike, listen, you know, in the years that you and I did what we're doing right now for Total Access on NFL Network and your previous incarnation in the NFL, I have nothing but the utmost respect for the Zebras and the officials. You know that, right?
I do.
But I'm just saying that right now for an audience that may need to just hear that caveat before I come back at you here. This guy, Winston, has every right to be under center so he can snap the football the minute it is ready for play.
He does not.
It is that simple.
He does
it is
not,
that simple.
No. He does not have every right. You are 100% right if Florida State didn't substitute. He has then every right. But they substitute. If you substitute in a no-huddle offense, if you quick substitute or late substitute like they did, by rule, the defense gets a chance to match up to your substitution. And the referees are to send their center judge or the umpire and stand behind the center, or if it's a 7-man crew, over the ball. And the referee will sit here and he will watch the defense. And as soon as he determines that they have gotten a reasonable time to match up, he releases them. They do not get the right to snap the ball.
I'm not saying that he had the right to snap the ball. He has the right to snap the ball the minute it is ready for play. In this day and age where we are running offenses the way that the offenses are being run, he should be under center, have every right to be there, and when the ball is now deemed ready for play, snap it the first second, not stand 2 feet behind because an official is preventing him from getting under center.
You are not going to, if it's a defensive side, the old umpire, they're going to stand over the ball and not let him snap it. If it's the offensive side, this new center judge, you stand behind the center. That's the mechanic. Everybody knows it.
So let's change the mechanics. Let's change the mechanics.
And so then they snap the ball if you don't stand
No, you stand over the ball. You stand over it just like you've always done.
This guy's got to go back to the offensive side.
So
Look,
what?
we can argue what you want about mechanics. The fact is, you don't push the official, and the official should have had the. How do you spell cojones?
Yes.
She brought that up. You know,
no,
I couldn't have spelled. Yeah, but she brought the word cojones.
I think it's with a J.
But regardless, you saw him. You don't shove him. Period. You don't do that. Aggressively shove them. You don't do it. That should have been a foul, and in my opinion, it should have been an ejection. I know one thing. I would have if it was me.
Mike Pereira of Fox Sports in his usual Monday spot here on The Rich Eisen Show. All right, Mike, before I let you go, a couple more bonus plays for our television audience here on DirecTV. Bill Vinovich, the ref, last night. We always love it when the refs sound like it's a beer commercial, right? When they use phraseology, it sounds like it's a beer commercial. Bill Vinovich picked up a flag. It looks like Beckham is definitely contacted out of bounds. And the flag is picked up, Barry Church, right? Of the Cowboys, for the one who hit him?
Yes.
Saying that he flopped. He used the word, it's just that the play happened inbounds and the player flopped. What does that mean?
It means, in his opinion, he flopped, and he said he was contacted in bounds. Well, he was contacted out of bounds, and maybe there's a little overemphasis on Beckman's part, you know, but to me it's still a foul, and it should have stayed a foul. But the flop issue is interesting, and the reason that this was called here is because really after week 11, there was a play in a game where there was a push and the player really flopped, and the foul was called on the player that pushed. And so the officials were told in a video, were told, please try to discern if a player flops and that's the word that the league used. And so you show that video and you show that play, and now you have the officials saying, okay, is it a flop? Is it not a flop? The league doesn't want flops. They don't want flops.
The league also doesn't want.
And that's how that came about. But to me, it's actually.
League also, as we know, doesn't want a ball to be used as a prop in a celebration.
Yeah.
Do you think T.Y. Hilton should have been flagged for this?
No,
well,
I don't think he should have been flagged, but it is a foul.
But is it a foul. It's not the official's job to know the storyline of every NFL player.
Well, and
though,
I mean,
right?
and that's correct, and that's where this line is gray now, because okay, you understand where he is, but what about the next guy that does it and says that his 88-year-old grandmother's sick, and so he's kind of So the league's in a predicament here. This would normally be a foul and a fine. I mean, the league's got to look at this. There's no way they can come out and fine him. It's just
because that would be the story today.
That would
the
be
league
the story.
has no heart. Come on, the league doesn't need that.
I know that, but technically.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.